All right, so Three Ninjas Podcast, Domino, Hess, Jones, Bobby, also Domino Effect Podcast, and like always, like we always do around this time, we're here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Kevin Eastman. Mr. Eastman, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Nice to be back here visiting with you, talking up all this fantastic stuff that's going on.
Talking some turtles, talking some turtles.
Talking some turtles, yeah.
So, the last run of the Lost Years not episode, but issue one came out about a month ago. I want to say, about a month.
Yep.
Yeah, about a month ago. All right. So, issue two was set to drop in March, correct?
Yes, I think we were all hoping for a little bit sooner, but there was some delays. A bunch of everything got backed up a little bit over the holidays and stuff. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we're gonna chronological what happened with Mikey before his unfortunate death.
Yep.
But the talk around the sewers are the new turtles. We have four new adolescent right now who will soon grow to be teenagers and so on and so forth. So the four turtles we have Odin, is it Moja or Moha?
Moja. I mean, I think you can pronounce it, but it's Moja. So okay. Moja.
Yeah. So Odin, Moja, Yi, and Uno, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I guess take us through the process of these new turtles. So what was the most difficult part? Was it the naming of the turtles, finding something that's going to stick long term? Was it the design? Was it, what? To take us through the process, if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's around the time that we really started digging down deep into the Last Ronin series. We knew we wanted to have a definitive ending to everything that came before, because I feel like issue one of the Turtles was the beginning. This was the end of that Mirage area, the original, Pete and Kevin Turtles. That is kind of like what Pete and I designed when we wrote the original concept for the story back in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
But we also wanted to take the opportunity to continue telling stories in this world, what we call the Roninverse. And it was a great opportunity to introduce four new turtles and four new personalities, two male, two female, and put our own personal spin, meaning Tom and I, and what we wanted to see in those characters, the next evolution of turtles, because it was an interesting concept when you think like our original turtles were born through accidental exposure to an ooze in the sewer, with lots of funky, and it's a sewer. And the rat, and just all these pieces that created them to be what they were. But if you took them into a laboratory setting, more carefully controlled, with the original mutagen, with Michelangelo's blood, and four different kinds of turtles, specific different species of turtles, to give them different style, shapes, color markings, and physical attributes, as well as just an approach to things, would have a chance to create some really unique characters for the next version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we want to keep them teenage mutant and trained in the style of what Splinter taught his turtles, and what Michelangelo discovered on his journey, because that was the story that Tom and I wanted to go back to, which becomes the foundation of Last Ronin Lost Years, is Michelangelo's journey after he goes to Japan in issue 4 of Last Ronin, and begins that 16-year process of training and learning and studying Splinter's journal before he arrives back in New York City, and issue 1, page 1 of Last Ronin. So we have a controlled atmosphere, a specific set of turtles, taught under the original teachings of Master Splinter by Casey Marie, which we found as she'll be the new sensei. We discovered at the end of the Last Ronin series she has some mutant powers, and then we have April there as the original old sage, the grandmother, the person of great wisdom.
Right.
So it was coming up with a concept that made sense, the concept that worked, and then the naming was incredibly hard, because it was you wanted to have something special and meaningful, not like, hey, we'll name them after famous scientists or famous mathematicians or
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
famous comedians. We wanted something that had a good heart and soul, and I think some people have guessed it online, but I can spill it here if you like. But it's basically each name comes from the numeral one in different languages.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's our concept and what Tom and I arrived at, because we really spent a lot of time thinking about it, was Casey Marie would not want to put one of the turtles above the other,
Mm-hmm.
and her philosophy is you're all number one in my heart. So she named them accordingly, with these very special and unique names. So that's what Tom, I felt that was perfect, because it was really meaningful, and it has resonance and importance, and it's good. Felt really good about it.
Yeah, so far as the names have been sticking with me, I guess I can kind of like, they kind of feel like the old, names, they mean something to me. Now, I might be digging too deep into it, but
Yeah.
being the origin of the names or origin of the like the variations of the number one, is that going to have any bearing on how the turtles act or their attitudes or anything like that? Because Odin is Russian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so is he gonna be like a hard ass, like, just hard to take down or something like that, like Russians are known to be?
I think it's more we didn't think so much about it's not so much the because we actually went through, and there was quite a long list of different names, how different people use number one in
Right.
different languages. Even Odin is I think it's the number one in multiple languages,
Yeah,
including
yeah, yeah.
Russian, I think. And so it was more the actual biological makeup of the different species of turtles. So you'd have like you see that first drawing of them in the end of issue 5 of Last Ronin,
Mhm.
and you got one that's more like say like a painter turtle or a snapping turtle, and one that's more like a sea turtle, or different styles of the turtle,
Yeah,
which is going to have more of a bearing on their personality than the names, because the names, again, all put them at
yeah,
an
even
even
playing field, like
level.
everybody's
Yeah,
number one.
everybody's number one.
Right. With these new turtles, do you plan on taking a different approach? And what I mean by new approach is, do you plan on tackling them a different way, like a complete 180 when it comes to, I guess, style, when it comes to bandanas and weapons and attitudes and their roles within a group? Like, do you plan on making like a complete 180, or implementing things that you couldn't do before that fans might have not liked with the original turtles?
Yeah, I feel like there's an opportunity to really hit the reset button in a way, because you don't want to um, replicate what had been done for so many years under the original turtles, whether it be specific bandana colors or even specific weapons, because it's actually something that much like what Peter and I did in the early days of the first turtle comics. We didn't issue 1. Michelangelo wasn't that pizza chopping, sort of laid back, wisecracking jokester
Mm-hmm.
that he became as that character evolved a bit more and more. But some of the isms were there. So these turtles, their personalities will continue to develop as we do them, because we want to make sure they're separate individuals, have strong opinions and strong personalities. But the weapons are something that, and some of the outfits and what they will wear, we want that to definitely evolve, and that it's something that I've been talking to Tom about almost since the early issues of the IDW series, and it goes back to actually an issue I did, Turtles 21, which was a fill-in issue I did, which had Splinter dressed as this masked Avenger
Mm-hmm.
attack the turtles, because the turtles that we've always known have always had one weapon,
Mm-hmm.
and Bruce Lee's philosophy of Jeet Kune Do and understanding and mastery of multiple martial arts, multiple weapons, know everything, know more than your opponent, and know all this stuff, which makes you a stronger warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I always had been pushing to evolve with the original turtles, but here, as Michelangelo showing up in New York with basically the weaponry from all 4 turtles, that's the direction we're going to take it. Is when they finally go out to battle, they'll have a weapon from each of the original turtles. So they'll have a staff and a sai and a sword and a thing. So they'll have multiple weapons and multiple skills, and that's the strength of what we're going to be teaching him. What they're going to be taught by Casey Marie and from Splinter's Journal. So, but the costuming will evolve, the look will evolve. But and that was also the desire with having different species of turtles, because some of them are so beautifully colored in the facial markings, almost a natural mask, if you will, or stripes or different things that you'll be able to recognize them like you would the original turtles if they had their mask on. But these, we want them recognizable at any time.
Yeah.
So that's the design for the uniqueness of each look of the character, the shadow, the shape of them, and also the weapon use.
Okay. Now, is the weapon use going to dignify the leader like it did with the original Turtles, or is the weapon you're assigned, and whoever possesses the characteristics of a leader is going to be the leader? Or has that been not mapped out yet?
No, it's not been. We have ideas, but we're going to let it map, because ultimately we sort of lean towards leader. Leonardo as a leader in the original group because of the samurai, the swords.
Yeah,
was more of a highly skilled, more disciplined. So he just naturally evolved as a leader type. But in this case, all four of the new turtles will each have a sword. They'll each have a sai. They'll each have a nunchaku. They'll each have a bow staff. But they'll also have other weapons to their disposal, because it's also set in the future. So there's other things that they're going to need to in this thing, but it's still traditional weaponry for our ninjas. But it's the ninja weapons of all four on each of them.
Cool. Now, how many issues of the Lost Years are there going to be?
There's going to be 5 issues plus a one-shot called The Lost Day, and the 5 issues are designed to kind of the prequel sequel concept that we set the series up as, is that when you see the kind of the prequel stuff, which is Michelangelo's journey from issue 4 of Last Ronin to issue 1 of Last Ronin, and each issue will take place 3 years apart. So you'll see his journey as he moves through his training, his missions, his things before he arrives at the final scenario that then I've learned what I need to. I'm going back to New York, and that's the start of Last Ronin issue 1. But at the same time, the split part, which is the prequel, which is every 3 years, you're going to see the evolution of the new turtles. So issue 1, they're 3 years old. Issue 2, they're 6 years old. Issue 3, they're 9 years old. So by the time you get to issue 5, they'll be 15 years old. And that'll lead straight into what will be Last Ronin 2. So Lost Day is going to be kind of a single adventure. We wanted to do something kind of fun and playful, where they spend a day with grandma running missions in New York City as it is at that time, which is basically 15 years after the end of Last Ronin #1. So it's kind of a something, get to know everybody a little bit more personality dig, sort of set up what's going on in the city, where it's at, different characters that are going to be brought to life in Last Ronin 2. So it's really a fun story, but in the middle of kind of establishing the structure of what's to come.
Okay. Yeah. So now this run is going to be 5 issues, and I wanted to know if is 5 issues enough to set up like a new big bad, and I guess the future for the new 4. Is that enough?
No, that's the best part. It's is that it's only designed to be, because the pages you're going to see of the new turtles it's limited to 4 pages per issue for 5 issues. And like I said, Lost Day is going to be a bit longer, about 25 pages. But when you get to issue 5, it's very similar to issue 1 of the original Mirage Studios issue 1 that we did, Peter and I did, which is their first real mission was issue 1 of the Turtles. So at age 15, they've not even completed their full training, but they've already need to step up because something's going to happen, and the rest of the story will build from that point. So you're going to get to know the Turtles the whole rest of them. You're going to get to know the Turtles in Last Ronin 2, because you're just going to be teased and shown, some basic personality, some basic steps, some basic training, little bits of their evolution. So when you go into Last Ronin 2, it's a full-on immersive, submersive, full-blown, everything is on the table, and that's where it starts all coming together, setting up the bad guys. You'll see the evolution of what's going on in the city, who's coming in, what the situation is. A full-on, very unique, very highly detailed 5-issue series, and that's going to be 5 issues, oversized, 40 pages per issue. The same design that we took for Last Ronin #1, because Last Year's is traditional comic size for the 5 issues plus the one shot. But when we go back to the original team, which is the Escorza brothers and Ben doing 5 40-page issues or 200 pages total, it's going to be getting the band back together and really blowing it out. That's where you're going to get to know the Turtles and what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the designs of the Turtles were really important, and I want to know how many ideas were scrapped before you came to the initial, like, these are the 4 that we're going with.
No, what's great about the design process was the materials that we basically handed over to Ben was, here's the Turtles, here's the species that I like. We want to do different sizes and shapes. If you imagine, like, picture a scenario, say like 4 of your favorite X-Men or the Fantastic Four,
right?
Or characters. So you want this personalities, and plus there's 2 males, 2 females. And so Ben did a number of basic concept designs, which we did the thumbs up, and then he did finishes, which we gave the thumbs up, and then it was an evolution of, now we needed him to draw them at every stage, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and the first costume pass. So Ben's an incredibly talented guy and skilled designer, so we were pretty happy, and it was pretty seamless, and so he nailed it right out of the box.
Okay, good. Now, we've seen photos of, I guess they weren't colored in, but we saw a picture of, I guess, the Turtles at their final stage, which was 15 years old.
Yep.
Why wasn't that kept a secret, or like something to hold on to close to the chest once you get further into the series?
It's a great question. It was actually a mistake.
Oh, really?
Yep. No, it was something that slipped through the cracks. We last year we had a very detailed meeting where we said each issue, the design was that each time we put out an issue, that you would see the basic, say, a silhouette of all 4 Turtles, but one of them you could actually see as they looked at that time, which would be a 3-year-old version of that turtle. You go to the next, at age 6, again, the silhouettes with another one of them revealed, again, looking at what they do at age 6, 9. And so the final reveal was just before issue 5, you would see them in their costumes in color, and somehow some files got mixed up and they put it out. And so when we started getting all these notices, like, why did you guys show all the Turtles the way they look at the end? And we said, oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. And it was kind of a bummer, because we were really excited about the slow reveal and doing that. So yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
Little snafu. It's okay. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, man. It's okay.
Now, is there any plans to like change it or surprise the fans? It was like, hey, y'all saw this, so we're gonna add extra, or we're gonna take such and such away, or like just something, because we saw the final result and we are supposed to have this build up that kind of ruins it in a way. So is there any plans to change it at all, or just leave it like, fuck, y'all got it?
No, it's a really good question, but honestly, it's one of those things that I feel like it's when we're getting into the last Ronin part, when you really, now you're with the new Turtles page to page, sequence to sequence, and as we're unveiling what's going on, it'll be kind of like I don't know, I guess like the X-Men, in that they had different costume changes at different times, or they're also teenagers. They're 15 years old, and so they're not expected to wear, say, a traditional outfit or a traditional gi or something, that they're still evolving their personalities and their style and their approach to what they are. And that'll be the fun stuff that we the shape of them and the size of them will be the most important indicator of which one they are. But what they're wearing and what they're doing at different times is gonna steadily and constantly evolve and change, and that's the fun stuff. So
okay, cool. All right, so my last question is, the issues are all scheduled to come out this year, because I know we had delays, pushbacks, whatever the case may be. Stuff happens, but is everything scheduled to come out this calendar year?
It is, yes, most definitely. We've actually issue 3's in the can. Issue 4 is well underway. There was just Ben Bishop's about to become a dad, so there was just some scheduling things that
definitely
just got a little funky in a good way. But yeah, everything's on track. The story is super strong, and now that everything's moving at the pace it is now, which we're really excited about, and yes, it'll be boom, boom, boom. We're now digging back in deep to a lot of notes and things that we made over what Last Ronin 2 is going to be, because we want to go straight into that, so that we have that opportunity by the time the last issue of Last Ronin Lost Years come out, that we'll say, a month or 2 months later, you'll have issue 1 of Last Ronin 2. So.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right. So, as always, a pleasure talking to you. Can't wait to talk to you again, I guess, when issue 3 comes out or issue 5 comes out. But
yeah, reach out and let's definitely like to get your review a couple issues in, and let me know what you think. And let's definitely keep in touch, and always enjoy talking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. So this is Kevin Eastman. I appreciate you. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Take care. Thanks, man.